moving on here with variable assignment and initialization. You've already seen variable assignment. It is where we assign a value to a variable. So this little block of code is an assignment. We are assigning the value of 12 to a variable called units sold. Now, before we keep going, what kind of variable do you think units sold is? Is this going to be a double, a float, or an integer, and why? An integer, right? Because we do not see a decimal value here. So the equal is the assignment operator. So we saw the plus operator before where we were able to, it's concatenate, where we were able to put together two things into the output for a print line, for example. Here, the equals symbol is the assignment operator. We're going to assign the value on the right-hand side of the operand to the variable here on the right. Now, the other way to give a variable a value is actually with initialization. So let me scroll down here. We have a nice little, there we go. It is on page 54. This is what is known as initialization. So we give a first value to something as we're declaring it. So here we have double pay rate. And we can tell it's a double because it's got a decimal value. So what we're saying is at the time that Java creates the variable pay rate, which is of type double, we're going to give it the value of 25.52. Here, for a floating point interest rate, right? So we're saying that at the time that Java creates the variable interest rate of type float, we're going to give it the value of 12.9. What do you notice here, everybody? F. That's required when you are doing floating point numbers. The F here at the end forces Java to see this as a floating point number. So again, most of you will probably choose to use doubles as we're going through with the end of chapter exercises or anything like a larger challenge problem would be. But really the thing that you're required to do when you use a floating point number is to remember the F there. So we'll keep on with this little block. At the time that Java creates a variable called stock code of type character, we're going to assign to it the value of, and again, because it's a character, it's not double quotes, it's single quotes. We're going to give to it the stock code of uppercase D. And finally, when Java creates the variable called customer number of type integer, it's going to assign to it the value, the literal of 459. So that's mostly what you will see when we are doing declarations is you will probably initialize them. And we're going to see that in our code example following all of these. But what I will also tell you is you can declare several variables and initialize them all at once with a comma separated list. So here, just to give you the page number again, it's 54. We can say that integer flight number is going to be created and initialized with a literal of 89, comma, and then we have a space here. So travel time is going to be initialized here as an integer, but we're not going to give it an initial value. Here, departure, you'll notice again, comma, space, departure. So departure is going to be created as an integer variable with a literal value of 10, comma, space, distance. So distance is an integer, but it does not have an initialized value. So there you go. That is, let me get back up here, variable assignment and initialization.